Well, it is now 7 o'clock, so we'll call our meeting to order and ask you to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Shirley, would you take roll call, please?
Mayor Hammond.
Here.
Larry Lambert.
Here.
Mike Connell. Bob Porter.
Here.
Chad Fuller. Jacob Puffer.
Here.
Misty Lytle.
Here.
So Chad and Mike are absent.
Looking for approval of our agenda. We also will approve the agenda from the September 19th meeting, which became just an informal meeting, but we still have to approve that agenda.
I move that the agenda from the September 19th, 2024, which was informational meeting only due to lack of a quorum, and the agenda for October 3rd, 2024 meeting be adopted as printed.
Second.
We have a motion from Larry, seconded by Bob. All those in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Kind of the same thing happening here with the council meeting minutes of September 5th and 19th.
I move that we suspend the rules, waive the reading, and approve the minutes from the September 5th, 2024 regular meeting and the September 19th, 2024 regular meeting that was an informational meeting only due to lack of a quorum.
Second.
Is that yours?
Yes, sir.
We have a motion from Larry, seconded by Misty. All those in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Pre-approved reports or presentations, I don't believe we have any of those, but I will invite Justin from SEDP to speak if you'd like to in regard to the ongoing topic.
Yeah,
Engineering grant.
I'm not sure who was here in September when Brent was here. I think he gave a presentation. I gave a very extensive one at the last council meeting. Probably doesn't need to be quite as long, but the broad strokes, and I'm obviously happy to answer any questions. The broad strokes, we are getting grant money. When I say we, the Shiawassee Economic Development Partnership. And once again, I kind of went through this last time a little bit, but we got a few people in the audience and watching on TV too. We are the county's economic development organization. We are a private nonprofit entity. We have a mission of supporting business development, workforce development, real estate development in the county. For the council, the city's actually a charter member of our organization. I don't know if I mentioned that last time. Steve Daunt was actually one of the original members, the mayor at the time, so you've been members of our program since 2002. We just try to help grow the local economy. We've done a few things over the years in the city, but this is a very unique opportunity that we're bringing forward to you because, going back to the grant again, we've got dollars coming in from Michigan Economic Development Corporation. And we've talked about them a little bit here before, maybe more in the context of downtown development, redevelopment ready communities, things like that. This is specifically, though, related to commercial and industrial site readiness. So you've obviously updated your master plan, you have sites you're looking at for potential commercial, industrial, I think mostly out along the Lansing Road corridor. What this money is for is to help communities be better prepared to support that development they want in the future. And so they're funneling money through our organization as the economic development entity to be able to use in Shiawassee County to support those activities. And when I mentioned at the last meeting, we've done work in Durand, we're doing work in the Owasso-Corunna area right now, and we want to show Perry some love. I think that was the quote I used at the last meeting. Specifically, as it relates to, well, what does the money go for? Well, really, the big issue that we all know here is the limited capacity that you have with your water and sewer system, right? And we can go down that road, but I think everybody here knows that. You know, it's going to be very hard to grow the city without fixing all that. And so what this grant money does, it does not pay for a new system. I want to be very clear about that. It doesn't pay for pipes, doesn't pay for towers, a new well field. But what it will do is it will pay for all the planning and engineering necessary to facilitate future development. So basically things that you would normally have to pay for out of your own general fund or your water fund or sewer fund. This grant can cover that, okay? And what this will do as well, and once again, this is not a promise, I'll be very clear about that. Doing the work, teeing it up, and then if we can get business prospects, for example, that might locate, let's say out on Lansing Road, that could put us in a position to go after additional grant money that might fund some of that infrastructure. That could happen. At a minimum, though, this information can be provided to you. Now, I want to be very clear again, even though the grant is funneling through us, we're the fiduciary, so we're the ones that manage the money. This is all about what you want, and what you want, because at the end of the day, it's your system, you got to make those decisions. So we want to work in concert with the city on what that work plan looks like, get you exactly what you need, pick the consultant that does the work, whoever you want. We're not going to dictate that. You get to dictate that. Even though we're going to manage the money, it's going to be stuff that you want. And once again, the outcome will be some planning, engineering that will allow us to be better prepared for future development. So we have allocated up to $150,000 out of this grant fund to be able to do this work. It'll do a lot. We get a lot of work done. Maybe not everything, and we know we need a lot more to do the physical work, but that's to you as the council, that's a $150,000 grant that I know you weren't expecting. That once again, you're actually saving your own taxpayers $150,000 because it's stuff you may have to pay for yourself. So I think it's a great win. I would love to see more, growth here, managed growth, not big growth, but, bringing more commercial industrial, because it's hard to manage a city without more tax base, right? And that's a big thing, is how can we bring more tax-based jobs, families, kids, schools, all the good stuff. So it's our gesture, our offer to work with you. So basically, I think you have on the agenda later, essentially an acceptance to work with us. And we would coordinate with you, we coordinate with DPW to make sure that process flows well and you'll get the information you need. So,
Very good.
That's it.
Anybody have questions for Justin? I know, Jacob, you weren't here for
Yeah, I
that,
had a couple
so
points,
feel free to.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know if we asked this, somebody
Sure.
asked us, or if I did the last time.
Yeah.
I know you're the fiduciary, but do you pick the engineering firm, or do we pick them and say, you guys kind of approve it, is that?
Yeah, we're gonna pick, so I think what we'll do is we would work, with you, with DPW, we would craft a very specific RFP, which, even though technically we're a private body, we're a nonprofit, but the reality is we're gonna treat this like a public body. It'll be a request for proposal. Anybody, you wanna get the proposal, great, we'll send it out. There's a lot of the normal suspects, and then we'll certainly review it together, but at the end of the day, it's your choice, okay? If you say as the city, this is the consultant we want to work with, this is the engineer we want to work with, they're within budget, they meet our goals, then that's who it's going to be. So good question.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing that I get questioned on as a council member is, I don't know if the general public understands the process, because I know coming into council, it's kind of overwhelming thinking about how many steps we as council, as city have to set aside, the master plan, putting things on paper. What you're offering is essentially the second step, if I understand it correctly, where we have the plan, we know where we want to grow in the next 5 years. But in order to go after grant money, you're basically saying we can put together plans. So when we do apply for them, we look as ready as can be for federal or even state level funding for grant projects. I mean, is that the best way to?
It is, Jacob, because where you're at, because you're right, you've updated your plan, you have a sense of where you'd like to see growth. As you all know, the problem right now is if, let's say it's a small factory that wants to locate on Lansing Road, and they come and meet with the city, they're like, oh, we don't have capacity for that, we can't handle that, new industrial customer, because of our limited, infrastructure. So you gotta upgrade the infrastructure. Before you even get to that, right, you gotta have the planning and engineering and all that, and ideally then from that grant money. So I think you've got the process down. Well, it doesn't guarantee development, it doesn't even guarantee grants, but it's part of that process that helps advance.
You can't have the grant without the engineering, is basically what I was trying to tee up.
That's,
Yeah,
you gotta have that. you
I
know.
think that's the beauty of this, is we can get the engineering done on things that we know are important without, it seems pretty risk-free if.
There's no match, there's no cash match, and the other thing too, and I think, we know, there's a lot of money out there, there's money that comes up every year, well, you gotta have that plan, you gotta have, I call it a plan in a can, right? It's ready to go, when that application window opens, whenever, it's like they need all of that, they need the dollars, the budget, the schematics, not just, hey, we need water and sewer. So this will tee you up for those grant applications in the future, so, good question.
Other questions for Justin, anybody? Kevin, did you have any questions for Justin? Or Megan, did you? Are you good for now?
Yeah, I'll be working real close with him, obviously,
Yeah,
'cause,
Yeah. Okay. How about you, Dennis? You're a city resident. Do you have any questions?
Not at this time.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, sir.
I'll stick around
Thank you.
until you, take
We
the vote, so,
appreciate
yep, thank you.
We will move next into public comment. Is there anyone here for public comment? Nope. Okay. Moving to Shirley then for communications.
I passed out a memo regarding an agenda item for the employee appreciation dinner, and that was all that I had.
And that's on our agenda for later, so take a minute and look at that, and we'll come to that in a bit. Moving then into our department head reports. Our first is Megan Galbraith, our treasurer.
Megan, do you mind doing the parks?
I'm on it.
All right.
Summer taxes were due September 30th. We've collected 94% of those, so pretty good track record. Auditors, I believe, will be in attendance at one of the November meetings, hopefully the first one, to review our 23-24 audit. Things are moving along pretty well, pretty normal for me. 2 of the motor pool CDs renewed recently. I moved them into a money market account just because that vac truck that we're waiting on should be here sometime this fall. So the money market account is, I think, at 4.75%. So we'll just keep getting as much interest as we can until we give most of that money to the Vector truck company. I think that's all I really have in Treasury world. A little calm right now, I guess we'll say. Park related though, the long-awaited mulch is being delivered at 8:30 tomorrow morning. The factory had a line issue, it's up and running. They're bringing some staff to help spread the mulch as well. Any else wants to come and help, we'll be here at 8:30 in the morning. I think Shirley and I might take a couple hours outside of the office and do some outside work.
So if anybody's interested in helping to
So
move some,
American Recycling they're volunteering their staff for.
it's
For that.
rubberized mulch,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep, so then the next step after that is we need to get a sign. We got a request in for a quote to get a sign thanking all of our donors, and a little bit of landscaping that may or may not have to wait till spring. Then we'll be in touch very soon with the MEDC to coordinate a ribbon cutting, grand opening. We'll be inviting everyone that donated, but the top tier donors are invited to participate in that.
Any questions for Megan? Thank you, Megan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kevin, you're up.
Hello.
I had a letter from Eagle that I was going to bring with me and read from today, but I had misplaced it or referenced it for something else in my office and set it down somewhere. But So we did compliance lead and copper sampling, which we have to do every 3 years. And 3 of our samples were over the action limit for copper, which triggered stuff with Eagle that we have to do more sampling and compliance testing, and try to figure out if we have a water quality issue, which we're going to do an informational packet for all water customers, so there's going to be more to come on that subject. There's no violation, nobody did anything wrong. We just had some samples that were over the action limit for copper, not lead, just copper.
In that, they talked about where that might come from. Could you just briefly address that?
We have to test our source water to make sure it's not being produced at the well. So we have to do parameter testing for that, multiple rounds. And then we have to do distribution samples to see if there's something in the distribution system that may be causing elevated copper levels in our water. It's not unsafe, but we are trying to determine what has to happen to stop it from being at or above the action level. We also have to do multiple rounds of lead and copper sampling over the next year. We have to submit 20 samples every 6 months for the next year. And if there's no other action level exceedance, then we can go back to our normal schedule of 3 years. This is just a precaution that they take after the Flint lead issue. They scrutinize this stuff way more than they ever have. And we hit their limit, and we have to take the next steps to make sure that the water is safe, clean, and healthy for everybody to drink. So I will be working on that in the coming, we have a meeting on Monday the 7th with they're going to help us prepare the material to pass out to the residents and customers.
We have already had a Zoom
DHHS.
call with Eagle and everybody in the water, everybody
Lead and
that
copper
has
unit,
anything to do with water.
district engineers, county health department,
It was a ton of people.
DHHS, which is who we're meeting with to get our game plan going here for the informational portion of it. And we're going to have to find some new sample sites because we're going to resubmit our sample plan with the state, and hopefully everybody will cooperate because this is a sample that's taken by residents after a 6-hour stagnation period. So, like
So
I
they've
said,
been really helpful, wouldn't you say? Eagle has?
yes,
Yes.
there'll be more to come on that. Moving on, we're expecting the generator to be installed and completed this month. Everything is prepped and ready to go. Midwest Tree was here grinding brush today. Most of it is chipped. We solicited a quote for them to do one more day to finish things up. And if we got approval or mayor signed an executive order to keep them here for one more day to complete the work, if we wouldn't have done it that way, we would have spent $4,000 more for mobilization costs. And this will take care of all the brush and debris that we have from the storm, and then the stuff that we've had on the ground since before the storm. So it'll be looking a lot better back there soon. The soil testing for the DPW build site, there was no surprises, it went well. We're going to be working on an RFP soon, looking for contractors to bring proposals to council once we know more, once we have those RFPs completed. And I touched on the bucket truck at the last meeting that I attended. We're looking for parts to repair it, and I've been told that there is none. So we have to start renting a lift every time we change banners and do elevated work. This week we had to rent one to put up the the banners for the high school, on the light poles. It's around $200 per round. So it won't break the budget, but it's gonna be a regular expense that we're not used to seeing, so
How
we
much
have to plan accordingly.
Sorry, how much is a replacement? I know you're kind of prepping for that, just roughly.
We have other equipment that needs to be replaced first with the back truck is coming, which I believe we have most of the funding in place for that. We have to order a plow truck. We may be able to look at, in 2-3 years, maybe getting some sort of smaller unit, not a big truck, but maybe like a tow behind like we rented. Something safe, easy to use, mobile. We're looking at all options. If we could come up with a truck, even a used one for a decent price, we may be able to bring something to council in that regard, but for now, that one, I was hoping to know more sooner so I could bring something to council so we could get approval to put it in municipal auction and sell it, but that we didn't get word until too late for that, so municipal auction is this month, so we won't meet again before that happens, but we could save it and do it in the spring, I suppose. We usually get pretty good results in the municipal auction as opposed to just trying to sell it outright, so, but that's all I've got. If there's any questions for me at this time?
How often do you use that bucket truck, Kevin?
When, it's pretty convenient to have one. If we got a tree branch or, some dead fallen hanging up, I would say 4 or 5 times a month.
A month? Okay.
When it's accessible. Now that we have to plan that out and rent something, we're gonna have to save all of our lift work until we rent it
And then do it.
and try to do it
Okay.
all in a day or, half a day. It was $200 for a half a day round. So $207 or something like that, so.
Here's one other question.
Sure.
You said something about an RFP for the barn. Does that mean that we already have engineered plans for the barn?
We have architectural drawings and we've done the groundwork, so
Oh, really?
the site plan has been done, yes.
Okay.
I think you shared that with us already.
Was that absent of that meeting?
It was a while ago, it was one of the first ones I was at.
I thought we were talking about it. I didn't know it was like, that was what we were going with. That's
I think we probably got those the end of August, maybe, or sometime in August, I think, like, maybe
Got it.
early.
Yeah, I think that was a pretty.
Shirley keeps a copy of each in the office and I
Okay.
have them on my desk if you wanna see them.
Cool.
And then see when we have a copy.
okay.
Any other questions for Kevin? Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Shirley?
The only thing I have is reminding everyone about the upcoming election, November 5th, Tuesday, November 5th. Polls open at 7 o'clock, they close at 8 o'clock, voting down here in council chambers, and I have completed all of my absentee ballots today, so they'll be going out tomorrow. So look for those in the mail if you're expecting one.
Thank
Oh,
you.
one more thing.
Yeah.
Consumers is supposed to come out on the 14th and hook up for the pavilion, so we'll have electric and gas out there. It's supposed to come out on the 14th, so hopefully that happens. I think doors were delivered on Monday, you think, Megan? I wasn't, it was
Something
like-
was delivered.
Something was delivered on Monday, they were out there today, moving some taps with the skid steer, so they're kind of leveling off around there and that whole thing, so.
How close is that?
The whole project?
Yeah.
Well, I know we're waiting on siding for sure,
Okay.
so,
It'd be kind of nice to be able to do both the playground and the
That's right,
pavilion.
yeah,
at the same time.
yeah, I'm not sure, I can ask again, but I didn't go out there and look them today, so.
Sure. Very cool.
Be out there tomorrow.
Look them tomorrow, right?
I'm out there
You won't,
anyway.
I'm going to. I'll be spreading mulch and hollering at Jason.
Any other questions for Shirley? Okay. The only things that I have to report are just to let you know that the grant team did have its first meeting. Ron Kraus, who's a City of Perry resident, used to work in grants for the state, and he has volunteered to serve on that committee, and we talked him into being the chairman, so he's now the chairman of that. So he's going to be sending some stuff out to various department heads, perhaps some to council, so don't be surprised if you see something from him by email. And our DPW grounds reorganization team, that's a big name. We'll have to
And
come
it
up
will
with something shorter.
come up with an acronym for it. Oh, I just wrote that down to ask about that.
Bob Porter and Tim DeLue have volunteered from the residential side to work with the DPW, Kevin and John and the rest of the guys there to do whatever it is you're gonna do. Did you want to talk about that at all?
No, we just need to I'll get with Kevin and find what's a good time. So it'll be either Saturday or a little later in the days.
I think I got your email.
Yeah.
I'll get you some.
Unfortunately, this is, I'm really, really, really busy.
Same.
So it may have to wait a little bit, but we'll at least have an initial meeting and then
We can do a walkthrough.
assign some tasks for each of us to figure out some things. It's gonna be shooting from the hip the first couple, then we'll come up with a plan in a sense.
Very good, sounds good. And any other committee reports for tonight?
Excuse me, I'll just let everybody know that the next ordinance committee has been scheduled for next Wednesday, October the 9th at 7 PM here in council chambers. One of our prime topics will be our continued discussion on the ordinance as it regards chickens within the city. We may have a couple of other items by that time as well.
Very good. Any other committee reports? All right, moving on then to presentation and approval of the bills.
I move that we approve the bills as presented and the payment be authorized.
Second.
We have a motion from Jacob, seconded by Bob. All those in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion passes. We don't have any old business, so we'll move right into new business. The first one is to accept Chad Fuller's resignation from City Council.
I move that we accept with regret the resignation of Chad Fuller and thank him for his time served on city council or as a city council member.
Second.
We have a motion from Bob, seconded by Larry. All those in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. And that leads us right into the appointment of a person to fill that empty seat. And Mindy Galvey, who has served the city in many capacities, one of which was a council member, has agreed, when I asked her if she'd be willing to serve out the rest of this term, which will only be until December 1st. Then we'll have to reappoint a new person to fill the rest of that term. Because it doesn't expire, the term is not expiring, but because he resigned, that expires. So then we have to appoint someone to fill the rest of the term, but we can't do that until December 1st. So Mindy will serve until December 1st. So I'm looking to council for approval of that appointment.
I move that we approve the mayor's appointment of Mindy Galvey to the city council with a term expiring December 1st, 2024.
Second.
We have a motion from Bob, seconded by Larry. All those in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Mindy, would you like to get sworn in now?
Sure.
Okay. Shirley?
Okay, I apologize in advance. Okay, raise your right hand. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly
that
swear
I will support the Constitution
that I will support the
of the
Constitution
United States of
of the
America,
United States of
the
America,
Constitution of the State of Michigan,
the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
the Charter and ordinances
the Charter and ordinances
of the City of Perry,
of the City of Peoria.
and that I will faithfully perform the duties
I will faithfully perform the duties
as elected council member
as elected council member
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Yay, thank you. You can join us right up here at the table. This is your seat right here. You get to sit by Bob.
Do we still have a plaque?
I do. So, I'll bring it next time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mindy. Another appointment is to reappoint Rob Kittle to the SADA board. He has agreed to that because his term expires in October. So I'm looking for approval of that appointment.
I move that we approve the reappointment of Rob Kittle to the SADA board with an expiration date of October 2027.
We have a motion from Larry, seconded by Misty. All those in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. And one more appointment, and that is to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Again, it is a reappointment of Deanna Shaw, whose term expired, and she has agreed to a reappointment, so I'm looking for approval of that.
I move that we approve the reappointment of Deanna Shaw to the Zoning Board of Appeals, an expiration of July 2027.
Second.
Good job, Mindy.
Knocking rust off.
We have a motion by Misty, seconded by Mindy. All those in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next on our agenda is a possible approval to allow the DPW crew to change their holiday work hours. Kevin spoke with the crew and sent me this letter. I think you all got a copy of it. Monday, November 11th is a scheduled day off in observance of Veterans Day. I'm requesting that the Department of Public Works works Monday the 11th and takes Friday the 15th off in observance of Veterans Day, which is also the opening day of firearm deer season. This will help to give all employees the day off who requested it and not leave us short-staffed. Thank you for your consideration. We will have on-call staff available for any emergencies that may arise. Thank you and have a great day, Kevin Tyler. So any discussion on that request?
Is it double time or anything like that on Veterans Day? Wow.
It's just swapping days.
Yes, it's just swapping days. The pay stays the same.
I move that we approve to allow DPW to work on Veterans Day, November 11th, 2024, and take off the first day of deer season, November 15th, which is a Friday, 2024.
Second.
We have a motion from Bob, seconded by Jacob. All those in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. And now we need to, we need to approve the Halloween trick-or-treat hours.
I move that we approve trick or treat to be held on Thursday, October 31st from 6 to 8 p.m.
Second.
We have a motion from Misty, seconded by Jacob. All those in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Now, this next item has been on our agendas for the last few meetings because of not having a quorum.
Three
So,
times, I
yeah,
think.
this is the third, so maybe the third time's the charm. But if there's any questions or discussion on it, Kyle could not be here tonight because of football. And so he said, it's not an urgent, it's not an emergency. If you do have questions and he needs to answer those questions, he will make arrangements to be here for the next meeting, but he thought maybe it had been looked at often enough that you were comfortable with it.
Well,
Any discussion?
do you remember, Jacob, when you questioned that, the amount,
Mhm.
when he was up here talking? That's exactly what it was. I
Okay.
just didn't actually have the quotes. I think we just kind of, it got missed.
Right.
So Kyle got it to me and that's exactly what he said, in the 13,000 range, so. For all that extra equipment.
Yeah, this should be in your packet.
This is to outfit the new cruiser we
Yeah.
purchased. Yeah. So it's required.
Yep.
So if you're all comfortable with that, no further discussion, I'm looking for a motion.
I move that we approve the purchase of the equipment needed for the new police car from Mid-Michigan Emergency Equipment in the amount not to exceed
Yeah, that-
$13,606.38.
second.
We have a motion from Jacob, seconded by Bob. All those in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. And now, item number 6, possible approval or / acceptance of the SEDP engineering grant, which is what Justin spoke to us about. We've heard from Brent Jones from the SEDP. We heard from Justin last week again, and he did a good job at answering questions that some people in the crowd did have, and did a brief explanation again tonight. So is there any further discussion or questions for him about this?
When do we have to spend this money again? Is there a date?
That's a good question. They have some flexibility. It's not a super big rush. We have our.
Well, like 2025.
Yeah, oh yeah, by some point next year. Yeah, we're, assuming the council moves ahead, we'll get moving on this.
So grant committee would work with SEDP, or would it just be
No.
council?
No, the grant committee doesn't have to work with anybody,
Yeah.
because it's, honestly, we're calling it a grant, but it's more of a gift.
Yeah.
And so truly, the SEDP will be working with the DPW. They
Kevin's the
will-
most important one.
Yes.
Yeah,
So, and then they will report back to council to let them know what's gonna be looked at, which not contractor, but engineer or research
Consultant.
people, thank you, consultant, will be used. So there'll be reports
Yeah.
coming back to council, but it'll mostly be SEDP and the DPW.
Just another job for you, Kevin.
It's a
Any
good
other
problem to
question?
have.
Yeah.
I move that we approve and accept the grant offered by SEDP in the amount of $150,000. We authorize the mayor to contact Brent Jones with the SEDP to move forward.
Second.
We have a motion from Larry, seconded by Jacob. All those in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. So Justin, would you let Brent know?
Oh, yeah. He's gonna be the one that's really gonna be doing a lot of paperwork on this, so, we'll be working together with Kevin.
Very good. Thank you so much, and
Yeah,
thank
you're
you
welcome.
for bringing the love to Perry.
Thank you
We
very much.
I love it,
appreciate
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Very good.
You're welcome.
Next on our agenda, I'm gonna turn this over to Shirley, because she knows more about this.
Well, Megan is actually the one who
Okay, Megan.
prepared the order, but basically you guys have the flyer here. We want to replace our trash cans. 2 of them will be for actually I think 3 of them will be for the pavilion.
2 of them are covered by insurance.
2 of them are covered by
2 are?
insurance. Yes.
That was gonna be
Yeah.
my question,
Yeah,
thank
2
you.
of them are covered by, I tried to do the whole thing, but 2 of them are actually covered by insurance, so,
So are we,
so.
is this amount for the one that's embossed or
Yes.
engraved or whatever you wanna call that?
Yes.
Gold lined.
Do we need to do, I mean, I think it's cool, I was very shocked that
You want to explain the,
$5,000 for trash cans, so.
Oh, they give you way more than
Right,
that.
but you do, so the,
I haven't bought trash cans except for my own house in a long time.
right.
$5,000.
Can I glance at someone's package? I made this like a month ago.
So you can get a 55-gallon drum for $20.
No, we want to be a little bit more classy.
Yeah, well,
Like the very bargain option from Treetops, which is who we've been buying all of our park equipment from, the benches, the picnic tables for the pavilion, stuff like that, wouldn't match the stuff that's coming in. You know, when we started getting donation benches,
Right.
we picked a theme.
Color-wise and
Right,
stuff,
yeah,
style,
okay.
okay.
So, not going with the theme that's this park, the cheapest is $581 each. If we got like the ones that literally match the benches, $1,011 each. Okay, so when we found this ad for this Witt Industries out of Ohio, they offered custom receptacles, a lot of sports facilities, schools and stuff. It would enable us to brand them with our logo. They come out to $680 each. Now, if we ever want to buy more, if we want to put them in the other park, if we ever find the need to redo receptacles uptown, they'll get cheaper per item because you don't pay the setup fee again. So there's a one-time
setup fee.
$300 setup fee. So if we ever want to purchase future cans, in the sense of unifying our look.
I'm not opposed to the idea, I think
Yeah.
it's great. I
Yeah.
just believe it
So-
was a hard swallow.
I know. Two of them are covered by insurance, but we do want to add a third one in the pavilion, especially because we're
Because the orientation
repositioning
of it.
it. Yep, so we're gonna put one on the other side by the bathrooms.
And
One of
Megan, the reason they're covered by insurance is?
The 20. One of them is part of the park playground donations. That funds are covering for that. People often come into City Hall with stuff in their hands and they say, "Where's your trash can?" And we have to literally pull it out from under our desk and hand them one. So it'd be nice to put one outside the front door, and at that point you have 2 mismatched cans left.
Can you buy, I'm gonna think out loud for a second. Can you buy one at a time? Like, can we
You
put that in
can,
the parks budget?
But your
of-
freight is also what's gonna
The
kill you.
freight's gonna
Because,
kill you.
these ones, the ones I really want, the freight was $200. The Treetops freight was, I don't think I have it here, it was more than double.
Freight's ridiculous.
Yes,
no
it
matter what
is.
you
It
get.
was, so
Um,
to spread it out is just gonna cost us more in the long run.
Okay, so my suggestion is that we put that in the parks, because we do have a parks millage, just take a portion of that millage
Oh, the
and
part,
save it for every year and buy them that way. Not,
we can
from now on, moving forward,
do that now. It doesn't have to be a general fund expense, it can come out of the park
come
fund
on,
now.
park.
Mhm.
And it sounds like one already is for donations.
Yes,
Because that money went in. park
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
fund. So really, we're paying for 3 or 4.
How many's on, I'm sorry, how many's on that?
2's covered by
So-
insurance,
so
one's
4.
covered by the park.
So we're paying for 4.
4.
Mhm.
So this is
Out of the park
roughly
fund.
a
We can do
$2,800
Right.
conversation.
I think that'd be my suggestion, is that we take it out of that fund.
That's good.
I agree with that.
I guess we didn't have that conversation ahead of time of which fund that was coming from, but that was my intention, was that it was a park purchase.
Okay.
For those that are not covered by
Under
something
some
else.
sort of-
Yeah. Any further discussion, questions?
I move that we approve the purchase of trash cans for City Hall grounds, Veterans Park, and Pavilion from Witt Industries in the amount not to exceed $4,765.
Second.
We have a motion from Bob, seconded by Jacob. All those in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Megan, one last question. What's the lead time on this? Are we gonna have this before park and pavilion, do you think?
No idea.
Okay, sorry.
It's hard to say now because it's been 3 meetings, 2 meetings ago that we, yeah.
Is that it, Jacob? Are you good with that?
I'm satisfied.
Okay. Moving on then in our agenda to possible approval, if you can believe this, Larry. Because it's been-
See,
it's been
this one's been around longer than
Yeah, this has been
the
around.
money for the police car equipment right now.
Possible adoption of zoning 396, section 3.23, storage and parking of recreational vehicles. We've had the first reading,
We've had the first reading
and now we're just,
Multiple after that, yeah.
a couple different times, and
Yeah.
yeah, basically this one does take into account the fact that we are taking away a max number of recreational vehicles, did add utility trailers to the mix, took away the idea that trailers or utility vehicles had to be owned by either the owner of the property or the renter. That was a part of the discussion at one point in time. That is not in the last version that we read. Any other questions before? I move the zoning ordinance amendment 396, section 3.23, storage and parking of recreational vehicles, which was read during the September 5th, 2024 regular council meeting, be adopted.
I'll second that.
We have a motion from Larry, seconded by Misty. All those in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Moving right along then to number 9, possible approval of IT services to replace the IT service or lack thereof that we have now. We discussed this, and I'm again just going to have Shirley
I was
let you
just-
know a little bit.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that I did put in the proposal that we received from the other company back in June.
Mhm.
And I spoke to Kyle before this meeting, not today, not this week, but last time, and he was pretty comfortable about just moving forward. He likes the presentation that these guys gave us. I think that it was a $6,800 onboarding with the other company, and these guys are $2,500, so, significant difference.
This is the vet-owned one. too,
Yes,
right?
and just so you know, I did speak with the attorney to find out if we had to go back out for bids again, and he said no.
How many bids did we get?
In May, we sent out for bids, I think we got one. Did we get one? Just one?
Yeah.
Like people wouldn't submit a
This-
bid?
Mm-mm,
Right.
No
This-
point.
This was a cold call, wasn't it?
Yeah, this guy just stopped in one day, and I was like, oh, and he gave me the information. Kyle was on vacation, it was in July. And so when he came back, we talked about it, and then we had a Zoom meeting with them, so.
And what are we paying now?
Per year, like $13,400. Kyle did say that he spoke with the RSD, and we'd be in the range of up to almost $40,000 a year for IT service if we were to go through the RSD, I guess, which would take us on, I guess they're two.
Say,
So,
pretty
Yeah,
slow right now,
yeah.
sorry.
so,
And we have just, again, we've discussed this
Yeah.
several times, but to bring it back up to the surface, it's not so much the price,
There's no service.
but there's no
We're
service.
paying
They
right
are,
now.
do you want to expound on that at
oh,
all?
well, we call, we get a person who, you're on the phone for hour trying to fix what's wrong, and then they have to escalate it, and then you don't get a call back for days, so then you call back again, back and forth, and then you finally, eventually fix your own problem, so, or don't fix it, I guess, but, usually we've pretty much figured it out ourselves if there's some sort of big issue, or little issue, I guess, but, if you guys want to wait until Kyle's here and discuss it more with him, you can do that, because I'm coming in way super late in the game, and I honestly do not understand all of this stuff. I do know that we are going to have to migrate was it the email migration, because we're like way behind the times on that, so,
I remember the history a little bit back, a while back, it was IT right,
yes.
and I think the sense that I got was that generally speaking, we're fairly pleased with
They
the
were really
service.
great, yes.
And then they
Yeah,
somehow
$1 or something.
established an affiliation with VC3,
Yes.
and it began to degrade, hoping it would get better, and hoping, and it just hasn't.
Yeah, usually we don't even get someone in Michigan. Usually get someone in North. Yes,
Mayor Sue, I know it's
Yes,
not public
just-
comment,
no,
but
go ahead.
I have a couple of IT firms that are based in this area, county, that I don't know who you're talking about, but if you want more contacts, more bids, I can make that referral. I just want to offer that to the council.
Do you have any thoughts as to why we didn't get any bids when we put out the RFP?
I just think a lot of private businesses they're not even aware of government bidding.
Okay.
They're not looking at the City of Perry website or reading the paper. I mean, this is not just Perry, it's a lot of local governments
Sure.
that people just don't know. Usually what happens is somebody stops in, somebody calls somebody.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you can find a local option, I mean, both of these are based in the area, so if you want that, I'll just offer that.
Yeah, this Black Rock is in Lansing, I think.
No, we're in Ann Arbor,
Or the Ann Arbor
Arbor area.
Yeah, I know.
One's in Owasso Adaptive Technology, they do ours.
Mhm.
They're in the Emory Pratt building now, on Delaney and 21, and the other's actually moving, they're in Swartz Creek, the owner's in Byron, they're gonna be moving into Lennon, it's a company called LJ. Both of them are really good IT providers, so if you wanna have that referral, I can make those.
LJ Electric?
Yeah, they do IT,
They do everything.
they do everything.
I do, I sell
Do ya?
equipment.
Yeah, they have an IT division, yeah, so,
Go figure.
yeah.
Well, I think it would be good if council's in agreement to, again, table this and get those names from Justin and see
Give it
if
Shirley?
they're interested, yeah,
I'll do that.
okay, and,
I just wanna be as thorough, like,
oh, absolutely.
it's a
It's a
big
lot of
ticket
money.
item.
Given the fact that we're looking at a pretty significant
switch.
annual increase.
Absolutely.
We don't want to do it again for another 20 years.
Very good. Okay, so Shirley, if you'll
motion
handle
to
that
table that.
and let Kyle know, because he's been very involved with this as well.
Just, do we have to have a
Do we have
second?
to motion to table it?
I motion to table it.
Second.
We have a motion from Misty, seconded by Bob, to table this. All those in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Justin, could you get numbers to Shirley?
I'm doing it right now.
Awesome. Thank you. Thought before we leave tonight, that might be a good thing, so Shirley has less work to do.
Okay, we have one more item, and it's a fun thing. And again, I'll refer that, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take your line. Shirley's opening the line. Go ahead, Shirley, tell
So
us.
this is about our annual employee, I have Christmas dinner on here. It's not gonna be Christmas dinner, it's just an appreciation dinner. On the memo I had Christmas, but, so we have decided to try to change the date to November 22nd this year, it's a Friday. And we also decided to move this dinner to Sideline Sports Bar in Owasso. Chief Box has had a dinner there for some sort of meeting he's been to, and he said it was pretty decent, so we're gonna try that out. I do have a price on here. Now, don't let this scare you, because this is if every single person RSVP'd and every single person came, that is what the amount would be. But I wanted to get this on the agenda, and I wasn't quite, stuff came into me after, so I wasn't quite sure. So it's a overestimate. And room charge is just $100, 20% gratuity. Let's see, last year we had, 45 people? About 45 people at the dinner, so gonna be maybe $900 if it's 45 people again. So I just wrote the motion, hypothetical, if 100 people.
Isn't that the day after Thanksgiving?
No, it's the week before.
That's why I checked, yeah, I was like, that
Yeah,
seems really
yeah, it's
close.
the week
That's
before.
my brother's
Thanksgiving's a little bit
birthday.
late.
I know that.
Oh, is it?
And the funds that we use to pay this is the rental of the room upstairs. So I estimate by the end of the year that for the year we'll make $6,400 from room rentals. Yeah, that's it, just the room upstairs.
And the reason that we decided to change the date was,
Why did we change it?
because we couldn't find any place to
Oh,
go.
that's right. I don't remember. There's so many
As I
things that happened
recall,
since that day.
we ran out of places to
Yeah,
ask.
it was just tough to
Yeah.
find that date and, you know, and I know it's hunting season. I apologize for anybody if you hunt, Bob, or if you don't, but,
I come back that week.
so.
We probably got one by then.
Not just about shooting the deer.
I know, I
And
know.
it's not a set in stone thing either.
Just to
I
go out
mean,
and veg.
if
That's
this
right.
date doesn't work, next year we can try to go back to the December, first Friday in December. So.
Any discussion, any questions, any thoughts?
I move that we approve the employee appreciation dinner to be held at Sideline Sports Bar on November 22nd. The price of the dinner not to exceed $1,968. We authorized the city clerk to make the necessary arrangements.
Second.
We have a motion from Misty, seconded by Larry. All those in favor of that motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Is there any other business to come before council at this time?
I made myself a note, I know we talked about this, it's been months ago, that you were going to talk to our attorney about any options we may or may not have with the McLean House. Has that happened, or does he have any opinion about
I
that?
talked with him, and he sees no problem with selling the building if we choose to do that.
Okay.
What about the parking lot, speaking of? I know that was discussed. Are we still thinking about getting bids on that?
Behind the
Yeah,
liquid
for
house.
additional parking?
Kevin and the guys kind of looked at that. Did you,
Is it possible?
we talked about it, but
I recommended that we have it surveyed, which would fall under engineering, which I was waiting to see what happened with our engineering grant
Yeah.
for community development. So we haven't made any movement on that right now. I did get a quote to have the tree removed that would be at the end of the parking lot area. I think it was $1,200 from Dunmore Tree, which is going to be part of that project. But other than that, we haven't done anything with that, no.
Okay.
Are there restrictions on what, if we sold it, what it could be used for?
Because it's a historical monument.
it wasn't real clear to me from Justin what those requirements might be. I know in the original handoff to the city, the previous owner did indicate what she required it be used for. Justin didn't feel that would hold up in court. And there is documentation from a previous attorney in Lansing, probably in the 70s, when Lucille Griffith was clerk, that said the same thing. You can sell this anytime. But it's not so much just to sell it, but because the city doesn't really benefit from it. The city residents did not approve paying even $5 per household per year toward the maintenance, upkeep, utility costs for the building. So that's a pretty clear indication that they're really not interested in spending their money to take care of it. I did ask the officers of the Historical Society if they would be interested in it, and they said, oh gosh, no, we can't afford it. Well, I mean, that was without any discussion, you know, it was just like panic. But I personally can't see, if the residents are not willing to pay for the upkeep of it, why do we keep squirreling money out of the general fund to pay for its utility bills and things like that? So,
I would like to have invite the Historical Society to a council meeting and have this discussion, or a separate meeting, and have this discussion, because it's, I'm not saying we should throw it away or sell it at a profit, but we certainly can get it out of the general fund expenses.
And I agree with that, Bob, I truly do. I personally, again, I know it's up to council, but I don't see any problem with just giving it to
Gifting it to
them.
them, right?
Here you go.
If it was donated to the city can donate it back, right?
Correct.
But we have
But we
put
can't-
a lot of money into it in the last 2
So have
years.
they.
And so have they.
Okay, I don't know the history of
So
it.
have they, yeah.
In my opinion, the biggest thing I have is there isn't any set hours, we have no control over it, but we're required to maintain it, cut the grass, pay the utilities. It's not a huge expense, but it's an expense that we could take that,
Absolutely.
whatever it is, $5,000, I don't even know what it is off the top of my head, towards something else. And the Historical Society has done quite a bit of work on it, and they maintain it, they're doing a fine job. They should take the next step, and the city can gift that to them.
And I agree with a meeting with them, I don't think it should be
An open council, that's
an
fine,
open
it just,
council meeting.
we should start the, process ball rolling on that, and at least start a conversation about it. An open conversation. This cannot be. Say anymore, I'll get myself in trouble.
Too late, Bob.
Justin wanted to say
Yeah.
something.
Mayor, Sue, and the council, so, I got a lot of ideas tonight. The city of Owasso just went through this issue with the Gould House, which is their version of the McQueen House. It might behoove you as you go through this to talk to city leadership, council, manager about the pros and cons of how they had to deal with this. Same issue. Very old house, like the oldest house in the city, you know, historical value, all that. They ultimately decided to sell it for a home. And somebody bought it. But, you know, every community's different. But you might want to consult, they're right up the road. What did they learn? What should they have done? Should have done all that.
That's a good idea.
And our city attorney did say the same thing. And he said, based on what has just happened here in the city of Owasso with the Gould House,
Yeah.
yes, you can sell
We have a precedent.
it. Yeah, we have precedent.
I think we need to investigate that and exhaust that option.
Could I see,
I would agree.
hear from anyone here on council that wants to be a part of that meeting?
If I have to.
Mindy? And now you do, yeah. Anybody else? Okay. Alrighty, I will get that set up.
One more question.
Yes, ma'am.
They had talked about putting a roof on.
Mhm.
Might have my time wrong, but I think they were talking about last fall. They would do it. Kevin, do you know? Did they do it?
They
They
did
did
put it
get
up.
their
Pretty sure
roof
they
on?
did, yeah.
Yeah, they-
They put a bunch of money into it.
Yeah, they've done repairs to the ceiling inside that was damaged from water leaking in, and they've
Not the
painted and.
damage, but they were talking about, they got a grant,
Mhm.
and they were working to get money to match it to.
And they did.
Put the new roof on. Okay.
Yeah, it was a small grant, I don't think it covered a quarter of the cost of the.
I know they were
Yeah.
drumming up a lot of money
Yeah.
so that they could do that.
And they have put a lot of money into it.
Mhm.
It just makes sense to me that
They take care of it.
we gift it to them and they take it over, yeah. Okay.
I just think it's a great idea for the city, just for farmers market and so on and so forth. Before we would do any of that, I really would like to see through the surveying, if that's an option, just for the potential parking lot in that large vacant lot. I know that's,
Oh, yeah, this is
Yeah.
gonna take a while.
okay, all right.
Yeah, this won't be a one and
All right,
done.
okay. I just-
No, no,
All right, we gifted it, we're done.
No.
I really think that lot would be great use. for the
So
city.
Kevin, yeah, put that on your wish list and let's get that survey done and, okay. I think that's great. I do, and it might be something they would like too.
Sure.
If we did that as, part of the gift. Okay, very good. Thank you, Bob, for bringing that up. Any other business to come before council? Any other people here now for public comment who would like to speak? Any agenda items we haven't already discussed for next time?
I think we should put on the agenda to set a date, maybe for the park. You think that'll be ready to set a date by next week,
I
or next meeting?
personally don't think that's a council action.
Oh, it's not, okay.
I think that's just a Parks thing.
I'll invite you.
Yeah,
All right.
Parks Committee will let us
I
know.
just know there's a pavilion if we're trying to do them both, anyway.
Yeah, I don't,
They're gonna bother them tomorrow at the pavilion, see.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I could
just-
bother them tonight if you want me
No,
to.
no, no.
you know, there's so many things that are, and now with the ports closed, I
Yeah.
suppose
Oh,
it's
spring's
getting
over.
even worse,
Oh, is
but.
it?
Yeah,
I mean,
already.
we've been waiting, oh, is it over?
Yeah.
Oh, good, wonderful. But we've been waiting for that siding stuff to come. And they were waiting for the doors to come before they finished the
Yeah.
bathrooms so they could
Well,
secure them.
And-
So I think some things have arrived, but
Well, the
Not everything.
door issue was we're trying to figure out what we were gonna do because of the new keyless thing. And so we wanna make sure we have everything in place for if we ever do the keyless out there. Because we don't wanna put it all together and then have to replace things. So that was kind of a little bit of trying to figure out what we were gonna do for that and,
Yeah.
getting that stuff ordered.
yeah,
So, but-
I think probably the parks, the playscape is gonna be ready to be grand opening here in the next couple weeks. And that pavilion,
It might be a month.
yeah,
I mean,
it's gonna be longer. So I think we'll have to
It's
do them
close.
separately. I do. We'll
Sorry.
see.
we're not gonna
I
be
didn't
renting it
get
anyways,
sidetracked
so
about that. I figured it would
be
be.
patient.
We could always do two. We could do one soon and then do one
In the spring,
yeah, sort of,
yeah.
when they do the family fun night or whatever.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
that's in
that's in the
July.
summer.
Right, but there's nothing saying you can't have two grand openings.
It's all for
Dedication, one's a grand opening, one's a
There you
dedication.
go, yeah.
Memorial Day,
Oh,
yeah,
That'd
like in
be
the
nice.
spring.
Okay, well, I think then that we are ready to adjourn. It is 8:08, and we are adjourned. Thank you all for coming.